this is like the Jordan 37. Cole Haan and like Kenneth Cole, you can go into Bob's and buy mesh sneakers that look like this. A Yeezy with like somebody took like a hot glue gun. All right, my friends, the time has finally come to talk about Yeezy. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Kanye is so important within fashion, but on this channel, we really haven't talked about Yeezy, the brand, all that much, especially compared to a lot of other like streetwear focused channels out there where it really seems like it's all they do. But my opinions on Yeezy, I think are a bit different than a lot of people. So growing up, my friends and I always used to use this word, good bad. What does that mean? Well, so we were in like the punk music scene, and we would usually use it to refer to bands. Like bands, it could either be that they were so bad that they were good, or they were really bad, but there was just like something about them that you kind of liked anyway, even though you recognized that it was bad, but to you it was good anyway. Or maybe it's that there's some stuff that's really good and some stuff that's really bad. So yes, I am going to say for myself definitively, Yeezy is good bad. So the purpose of today's video is to really break down why that is my opinion. We're gonna dive in and I'm gonna lay it out for you. And I think by the end you might agree with me that Yeezy is good bad. Okay, so let's do this thing. But first, I've looked into it, and a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button, and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna start off super broad here. Yeezy, all, that's not how you spell all, silhouettes. Let's just start there, and we'll see what comes up. Like, all right, let's go. We don't want to rank them. We don't want to be biased by anyone here. I'm not going to look through a list of the best things. I'm going to go right off the cuff here, okay? So let's take a look at this image right here. This is probably going to take us to that. Oh, no. Different article. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not... Okay, so for the purposes of this video, I really am talking about Yeezy, the brand, which really came into being more with the Adidas deal. We can talk about the Air Yeezys. I guess I can give you my thoughts really shortly now. I think they are cool because they're so rare. You know what? Why not? Let's just do it. No, I don't want 10% off. Thank you very much. Let's look at the Air Yeezys, because why not? We're going all in here. So, here are the Red Octobers. You got the Solar Red, the gray ones. I don't know. These look like Jordans to me, to be honest with you. Like, this is like the Jordan 37. Let's just say that, okay? It looks like one of those, like, you know, Jordan's running out of ideas. They need a new Jordan model. And here you go. Here it is. It's like a kind of Jordan-looking silhouette, and it's got a strap over it, and there you have it. It kind of works for the era. It's a bit chunky, especially these ones. Like, it kind of has a bit of a skate shoe look to it, but design-wise, I don't know if there's anything all that special here. Like, they have some cachet now because they're just so iconic and so rare, but all their value to me comes from that rarity. From a design perspective, like, if I saw these at Foot Locker, would I buy them and be like, I have to have them? Of course not. And I think if you really look within yourself, you wouldn't either. Okay, and then we get into it. So how it all began. Yeezy sneakers history. 2015, we had the Boost 350. And this is where it really took off, right? So you've got the Boost 350s, the Turtle Dove, Pirate Black, Moonrock, Oxford Tan, and like these ones, the 350s are, I'm gonna include the V2s in this, where they added the like supply line and whatnot to it and took off that pull tab that's on some of the, yeah, all of these, right? All right, let's dive in. Let's look at like the Oxford, okay? So this is a shoe that's really interesting to me. He did do some interesting stuff here using the boost and stuff like that, which was like a pretty high-tech kind of technology at the time. But as a silhouette, like Cole Haan and like Kenneth Cole, you can go into Bob's and buy mesh sneakers that look like this. It's just that pre-Yeezy, they were marketed to like nurses and warehouse workers that would be on their feet all day. They were a comfort thing, an ergonomics thing. They were just not a hype sneaker. And again, it's the Kanye name that made these take off, and the fact that every famous person was wearing them. Like from a design perspective, there's not all that much here. Like even today, if these came out from another brand, I don't think they would light the world on fire. It's about the hype, about the scarcity, the exclusivity, the Kanye West name, the celebrity names. Like, look at this shoe. Please just look at this shoe and remove Kanye West from it, okay? It is a bad shoe. But here's the thing, you can't remove the cultural stuff from it. So now once you include them just being a bad shoe objectively with the cultural stuff, that is where these truly become good bad. And now moving on, we got the 950s and the 750s. Let's start with the 950 because these are actually kind of interesting. So these are actually, like, I think super ahead of their time. They're really straight in back. They're almost like a duck boot with the, what is that, the vamp there. The lace system, the angle of that is really interesting. This is like, I don't know, it's a very underrated shoe in my opinion. Obviously, they still command a pretty penny here. But like, you don't hear people talk about these that much, and I actually think they're super, super interesting. Like, I could see Bottega Veneta doing a silhouette like this today and it taking off. But people don't really talk about them. So these, I don't think they're good bad. These are just good, but they're good bad because people don't rate them as highly as they should, when this is a way more interesting silhouette than the 350s were. Like, people just, where are your priorities, you guys? Why are you buying the 350s and not buying the 950s? These are actually cool. All right, 750 time. These are like the Air Yeezys, except he's like salty that he couldn't do more Air Yeezys, so he did them as a Adidas Yeezy. And these, like, they have a little bit of that like spaceman feel that a lot of Yeezy stuff has, but this right here is really aesthetically displeasing to me. I've really never been a fan of the weird over lace straps things. They were on the Air Yeezys, they're on these. The colorways of this era that he was doing were also fairly uninteresting to me, although that is much more subjective, I would say. So you've really got that, you know, Yeezy boost silhouette for the midsole, and then just some really weird stuff going on up here that just doesn't do it in like any way, shape, or form for me. Like, this is like if you gave a piece of paper to a kid and told them to design their own sneaker. I feel like this is what they would make. So it was an interesting first couple years here for Yeezy. Of course, as we discussed, we came into the V2s. Adding that line was actually really smart. The supply line. Let's look at those. So of course these were everywhere. These were super, super iconic, and it doesn't say Yeezy on it, right? But from a branding perspective, this kind of like jacquard knit into the mesh here is super, super important because it gave it like a staple. Remember how I said like the Oxfords, the early the 350 like V1s, I guess, looked like hospital shoes that you get at Bob's? Well, these, now they have a branding element, even if it's not the actual brand name, that everybody on the street can look at and say, oh, that's a pair of Yeezys. So while the silhouette is still bad, this is a smarter version of it, which I appreciate. Alrighty. And then it looks like family sizing came in. Yeah, whatever. I don't know why they're going back to the Air Yeezys. Are these just like the beginnings, or are we going to get into the later versions here? Come on, site 950s. Yeah, I get it. Okay, boom, here we go. Then we get into the 700s. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about these. Now, I think these shoes are some of the most aesthetically pleasing shoes that Yeezy has ever made. This silhouette is so, it's like light years ahead of most of the other Yeezy models, at least up to this point. Like, some of these curves, the chunkiness of that sole, the shape, this, you know, kind of like light angle going up the vamp and the laces and the tongue, everything works super well here. Even the fact that they chose to put the pops of color into these little dots here, everything here is super, super smart. And I don't know if like the dad shoe vibes would have gotten nearly as big if it wasn't for these. Obviously you had like the triple S, stuff like that really took it off in the luxury space, but from a day-to-day thing where everyone was wearing the chunky sneakers, I think these were incredibly important. And to this day, they're one of my favorite Yeezy silhouettes, and I have like nothing bad to say about them. And then, oh god, we've got the power phase. Oh my god. I don't know if I can even call them good bad. They're just bad. So clearly, I don't know if it was Yeezy or Kanye himself or Adidas, but clearly they said we need like a minimalist sneaker in our arsenal. So they did the power phases, which are like a Stan Smith, Reebok Club C kind of simplified tennis skate shoe almost vibe. And they are absurdly boring. Like, what is this? It's just the simplest of Adidas styles. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. I guess they wanted like a low price point, simple sneaker for the people that didn't want to be super loud. I understand the reasoning behind it, but you couldn't do anything more interesting than this. There is zero about this that makes me think I have to own this pair of shoes. I'm just going to go to the Foot Locker or the Bob's and buy a pair of Stan Smiths. I'm not going to... They make me mad. They're just dumb. There's nothing more to say. They're bad. They're not good bad. Of course, the 350s at this point in 2017 are still going nuts. They've got some colors coming in. Again, smart. I said some of the earlier colors didn't speak to me. We've got the frozen yellow, which is the first like neon color, I believe. Though the Wave Runner did start bringing in some color, but also this was an important one, I think, to where the brand would go. And now we get to the 500. Now, remember when I said that the 700 was, I think, one of the best silhouettes? The reason I said one of is because I think the 500 is the best Yeezy silhouette. Like, hands down. It has that same shape as the 700, but these, like, rounded knobs for that sole are so sick. Like, I'm sure you've probably noticed by now that for me, design is king. If I'm going to be paying a premium for these products, I need them to have an interesting design element, an interesting design aesthetic, because otherwise I'm gonna get a cheaper sneaker. I'm not gonna waste my money on something that isn't interesting or unique. And these check all of those boxes. And we're also starting to get into that like super alien vibe that it started turning into right after this. Like, that's starting to come in. So you've got some of the chunkiness, some of the outer spaciness, and it all comes together into a really, really nice package here with the 500s. So these are straight up good. Again, some people are crazy. They don't rate them as highly. I don't know why these aren't like some of the most hype Yeezy sneakers, but like, these are great. And again, the 350s continue. Got some more 700s. I really like the Mauves. That's the pair that I keep in my closet for personal wear as far as the 700s go. And then here's where it just goes insane. So up to this point, Yeezy was very exclusive. That is how they were building their brand. But then I think this is around the time where Ye said he wanted everyone to have a pair of Yeezys. So it goes insane with the releases. You've got more power phases, unfortunately. You've got an insane amount of 350s, a bunch of 700s, and the V2s come out. And we've got some new stuff. We've got the Desert Boot, which is, I would say, very much in line with the 500s, but just in more of like a boot vibe. So I'm on board with these. But then we get two more silhouettes, the 380 and the 700 V3. So when I'm talking about Yeezy being good bad, this is like the quintessential version of that. So as you can see, the shape of it is very, very similar. You know, if you just look at the silhouette, if you blacked out everything and just saw the shape, very similar to the 350s. Even that the lace-up system looks very similar to me. It's just like an updated version of that. I'd say it's much closer to the 350 than anything else. I'm guessing that's why it's the 380. But like the colorways that they're going with here, they look like vomit. They just do. The weird perforations make zero sense. The sole has been made much sleeker than the 350s. The 350s were obviously more solid. They had these lines going through, but it just makes it kind of look like a blob. And so here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. You would say, hey, aren't you into design? Like, these are really unique designs. Like, yeah, there's some, I can see the thought that was put into these, especially if you look at like Roman gladiator shoes. Get ready for this. This isn't at all. Don't show me gladiator sandals. I want to see actual, real. Hold on. Somebody posted a picture online of a bunch of like rotted old gladiator shoes. Yes, here we go. Look at some of these. Like the shapes to these. Look at that. Okay. There's some really interesting stuff going on here, and I think I see these most clearly in things like the 380s. So I do appreciate that. However, from a design point of view, good. From an aesthetic point of view, and just like when you look at them, bad. So these, when I say Yeezy is good bad, like this is a great example here. And then how about the 700 V3s? This is a very similar story, actually. From a design perspective, there's some interesting stuff going on. Again, that alien stuff is coming out in full force here as well. But like, they're a bad shoe, and you can see it in the prices too, that they're just like not popping off like they used to, some of these new Yeezy silhouettes. Like, this is just, it's kind of running in the same design aesthetic that they had for a bunch of the previous ones, both the 350s and the 700s. Obviously, this is the 700 V3, so they're trying to tie it to that. But with the like mesh upper system, it's more like a 350, and it just looks like a Yeezy with like somebody took like a hot glue gun to it. Okay, and sometimes I wonder if that's how Yeezy designs. He's just like looking at a shoe and then he's like glue there and alien stuff over here and like throw paint on it. There's some weird stuff happening in this era that is very, very, very good bad. And then we move into now 2020, where we get the Quantum. And these are an incredibly unfortunate shoe. So this was Yeezy's attempt at doing a basketball silhouette. The others had been much more like casual silhouettes, but this was expected to be something that a basketball player could actually wear on the court and it would work. But it's just a weird looking shoe and very displeasing. So it looks like a Yeezy, like the Yeezy, all the rest of the Yeezys of this area at this portion of the shoe, but then there's just like a diagonal cut here where it turns black, and I guess that's for the extra support and padding that you need for basketball. But it's like really aesthetically displeasing to the eye, like this weird shield here, and they've like painted it in silver here to kind of match I'm assuming it's a mesh upper. And these, you can see that it spoke to no one because they often go for below retail. This is just a shoe for no one. Like, basketball players the professionals have endorsement deals with, Nike or Adidas and things like that. Most of it, they're not wearing Yeezys on the court because they have to get their money. Most day-to-day people follow what the pros wear. So this is really just for hypebeasts that want to wear a basketball sneaker but aren't actually playing basketball, which kind of defeats the entire purpose of creating the shoe. It's just very misguided in pretty much every way. But then we get to, I think, the coolest, most interesting era of Yeezy, which is where we are right now, in the current day. Because in late 2020, we get the foam runner, and we get the 450. And I'm so excited. Let's talk about both of these kind of together. So the foam runners, they're so ugly. But like, they're ugly in a super interesting way. So obviously Yeezy, they're doing something right because now everyone is making these like foam core sandals or shoes or whatever, and they don't look like anything else out there. At least they didn't when they were released. Now everyone's making them. But again, they have this like real spacey alien vibe going on. They're super extra chunky. They look like someone just wrapped something around their feet and now they're wearing it. Like, they're just so weird. And I don't know, they just like took off. So now it's like acceptable to wear these. So now they're in the modern consciousness and it's okay to just wear foam shoes. And foam shoes that are this weird and this ugly. Like, this is so good bad, but in that way where it's so bad that it becomes good, which is the perfect kind of good bad. And that applies also to the 450s, which are the craziest shoe silhouette of the past couple years, like hands down, at least like mainstream type of release from one of the big companies, because these are kind of like a 350 with the mesh upper, but then the foam parts from the midsole that come up and grab it like a claw, it is like straight out of a weird, it's like super villain stuff, which is very much where Kanye himself has been. If you look at the Donda listening event outfits, like, once again, they are terrible shoes. Like, if anyone else designed these, they would be laughed out of the room, but Kanye West did them, and now they're super hyped, and you can appreciate them for what they are. So again, they're so bad that they are good. With both of these silhouettes, we are clearly in a golden era of good bad Yeezy. Everything that's happened so far has been leading up to this point where he is making the worst looking shoes he's ever made, but to the point where they are so bad that they are the coolest things out there. So I'm actually super hyped on Yeezy right now. So I know the thesis of this video is a contentious one. I'm very curious to know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a comment below. Let's get a little discussion going here. Take a look at the other video on screen here. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.